worry about. Instead, you know, I thought, okay, I'll play on for it. I'll play bishop e4 and not offer any draw. So queen g3. And now there's a mild threat of f4, if we're being objective here, to undermine this e5. So I clamp down on that, and I think that's a good move. Just g5. My king's not in this side, so this next undermining move shouldn't be of any major significance. Okay, now here is where I'm thinking, you know, hold on a minute, I've got two main options here. I can either take on h4 and try and use the g-file, plan A, or plan B, I can just try and reinforce this g5 and maybe, you know, try and play positionally. There's tempting moves in this position like queen a4, just hitting a2 and maybe getting a rook down to d1. Because remember what I said before, possession of the d-file, what's the importance of it? The importance is entry points, especially because it's a central file. Imagine rook d1, it's hitting out at all sides. That's the importance, these entry points. If I had a rook on d1, it might be potentially devastating. Or, you know, the same with other entry points, potentially. So, that's my trump card. It's enough. You know, this possession of the d-file is significant, because it's the implications of it, you know, tactically. So instead, though, I'm thinking, well, king on the g-file, he's just played h4. Why don't I just go for his king? And I did know I was loosening this pawn, but I thought with the two bishops, the light squared bishop, I know it's a delicate matter of judgment. I thought, well, I'd still be okay, because I've got that light squared bishop. h7, although it's going to be isolated, isn't going to be such a problem. So I fell for this temptation now. And I think h6 now is the stronger move. I played g takes h4. I don't know if you would have played this. You know, please honestly tell me if you would have been tempted for g takes h4 followed by rook g8. I don't think there's any need for it. I think, you know, the d-file possession and the pressure on the queen side and just adjudicating, carrying on later with the retrospect, you know, of having to be able to do lots of analysis if it's adjudicated or adjourned. Even you wouldn't even have to play. But g takes h4 tries to create. You know, I've already got this advantage on the d-file. I've got the two bishops, and his pieces are passive as well. I've got a few advantages mixed in with each other. There's no need to try, you know, for the hack attack against his king, although it's very tempting, you know, to use this g-file. It was so tempting I played it. And let's link this idea now. Is h6 the more solid move, in inverted commas? Which, you know, I could have just carried on playing on my existing, you know, positional trump cards. Or would you say there's something different? It's not just a case of playing solidly. Would you say that when you have the advantage, you know, gained from previous efforts, you should then be conscious of trying to preserve those advantages and try and minimize any risks of losing your existing advantages? And in that respect, you know, trying for another advantage still represents losing existing advantages. So here, am I risking losing an existing advantage of this occupation of this d-file? The answer is yes, especially if he can defend this g-file attack. Unfortunately, let's see how the game went. Queen takes h4, I play rook g8. And he plays an ugly looking move, but it works out. This is a very good move under time pressure on move 28. It shows he's very tactically, you know, strong, even with limited time constraints. He plays the move f3. And you might think, well, doesn't this just lose to like bishop takes f3? In fact, bishop takes f3, white will be winning this tactically with queen takes h7. Because here, bishop takes g2, queen takes g8 check. Rook takes g2 is harmless. If I move the rook out of the way, then knight takes f3 because I'll no longer, you know, be pinning that pawn. If I move here, then there's queen takes e7. So this is actually a lost position. This position here. So all of a sudden, this promise, this temptation of the g-file, which has shifted my attention away from existing positional trump cards, is not that as exploitable as I previously thought. Okay, I thought all is not lost. I've still got two bishops and pressure potentially on g-file. f3 is still a tactical target, so I'll play bishop f5. fine. He consolidates his queenside here a bit with b3. Okay, because now he can actually move his rook to d1. There's no bishop a3s. I've lost my possession of the d file. I've got extra responsibilities now with my pieces, you know, having to defend this pawn and this bishop. So I've got a bit less flexibility in my position than I had before. But anyway, I try and reduce vulnerabilities. I play this move queen d7, eyeing d1, protecting the bishop. You know, maybe that's a reasonably good move in the situation. He plays queen f2, and he's hitting now a7, causing me a dark squared weakness. I play a6. But now this isn't so positional, this c5. He's blocking in his own bishop. I'm still absolutely fine. Even though I've been tempted for the g file, which I didn't need, I've still got nice control position. I've still got the two bishops. But things are a bit looser than before. A bit riskier. Queen c6. Now he plays queen e2. A nice reshuffling move. Because his queen is now back to the centre. And, you know, he can play bishop f2, he can play rook d1 if needed, because the queen's supporting d1. It's starting to look more organised. And look at this g file, it's starting to be neutralised. And in fact, bishop f2 will be a nice prophylactic move against h5, h4. So if I was tempted for h5, I was a bit put off by bishop f2. So things are not looking that clear cut. I play the move bishop e6, and he plays bishop f2. Again though, I'm in a fine position, and really, you know, I should have just offered the draw, and certainly not taken any more risks with moving pawns, especially because moving pawns, you know, a highly committal thing to do. I play bishop d5, and he plays b4, as if, you know, maybe there's an attack, but it isn't. It's clamped down at the moment. As long as I've got control of a4, and in fact, in this position, I think the move queen b5 Rupert was recommending, just get off queens. That would make sense. It would lock down a2. Imagine double pawns, and then say king c7, rook aa. That would be a fine move to play. But I'm still, you know, because I'm disillusioned by this g file now and what's happened. You know, he's reshuffled his queen to the centre. He's got rook d1 luxuries. My d file possession's gone from earlier, so I've blown, you know, my classic advantages. And I make things a lot worse now. I play e4, trying to just break through to his king. Okay. He plays now rook d1, and there's vulnerability in my pieces again. There's an idea now, queen d2, hitting the bishop, and then queen f4 check. And then look at these pawns. They're all starting to look a bit weak. I thought, okay, I'm holding things together with f5. I'll play f5. So he plays queen d2. Okay, I do spot queen f4, so I thought, okay, bishop e6 to protect f5, let him play the check, just move the king to the corner, fine. And now I go disastrously wrong, where I start to, f takes, and even here, fine, queen e4, I'm absolutely fine still. You know, this isn't a losing position. This isn't as good as before, even though I have an isolated pawn. You know, he's got bits to attack, and I've still got this dark squared bishop, still got the two bishops. So this wouldn't be a fatal endgame to go into. But no, I play f takes e4, and now he starts to be better. After this sequence, rook d4, again, there's another chance to play more solidly in inverted commas with bishop takes a2, but I play another committal move, which starts to give white now the advantage. Instead of, you know, wanting the exchange of queens, I play rook g4, trying to keep the queens on. But now queen e5. Now look at this possession principle. Who's got the possession of the d file now? I've been conned for this stupid g file attack. My pawn is now blocking in the queen. This bishop's potentially hemmed in by that pawn. But the possession, look at this. The advantages of possession again, of the d file. The central d file. You know, these points of attack. So I'm emphasising the d file in particular in this game as well, as a side theme, because my next move is a total tactical disaster. I wonder if you can spot the blunder, which I thought it was attractive playing his time pressure to try and cause him to blunder. This was at move 40 now. The game would be finished at 10:30 for adjudication or adjournment. He's got 5 minutes left, so I thought I'd punt this next move without thinking too much. I'll give you 5 seconds to see if you can spot the blunder, the horrific blunder here that I played. I played bishop g5. So it's got a tempting idea of e3, and if rook takes g4, e takes check. If bishop takes, maybe there's something nasty going on in some lines.